get in the mail today? Oh, look. Alpine. Ah, so nice. I like it a lot. Anyway, one of the things I noticed when I did get the Gladiator is, so in this JK, this is actually the Hard Rock Edition. The reason they called it a Hard Rock model is because it came with the upgraded Alpine stereo. And as you can see, actually it's locked right now, but you can see there the Alpine emblems on the speakers. And honestly, I've never done anything to the stereo on this thing because it sounds really good. And typically that's one of the first things I do when I buy a vehicle. I did it to my Raptor. It comes with the Sony stereo system, and this just didn't do much for me, put it that way. But anyway, on the Jeep, that's the first Jeep or the first vehicle I've never had to touch the stereo system. It just sounds good. When I got the Gladiator, however, even though this does have the upgraded Alpine stereo system, there's something about it that just didn't sound right. I haven't heard a JL, so I'm not sure about the JL, but the upgraded speakers that they designed for the Soundbar are for a JL and the Gladiator, JL or JLT. And what that does is it upgrades your Soundbar speakers to upgraded format of the speakers themselves, which tells me that they did that on purpose. They didn't actually beef up the speakers like they did in the JK, so that obviously there's another opportunity for upgrades, aftermarket upgrades, if you will, which is kind of disappointing. I'm actually disappointed in the factory sub too in the Gladiator. For some of you, I think it sounds good, and for everyday driving, it really does sound good. And I'm not one to say, you know what, I'm not like an audiophile, if you will, not anymore like I used to be, but it does sound decent. But just comparing it to the JK, it's night and day difference for me. I think the JK is way better acoustically sound than the Gladiator is. So when I found out they were making aftermarket speakers for the Soundbar, it was a given for me to do that upgrade. These have been on back order forever. And I was actually lucky to get one of the first shipments of the upgraded speakers. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be removing the factory Soundbar speakers and replacing it with the Alpine aftermarket speakers. So let's get going. Yeah, these just feel good. You can just tell by the weight. These are 6.5 round speakers with a component tweeter next to them, which I can already tell is just going to blow away whatever I have in there. But anyway, we're going to give that a shot. I'm going to start by removing the Soundbar speakers and then getting these installed. These should come with factory OEM connectors. Let's get started, okay? Now, I did just notice something. So it looks like we're going to have to do some cutting, which I didn't realize. But they gave you the supplied template. So if you have a Dremel or a reciprocating saw of some sort, you're just going to use this as an outline to cut into the Soundbar. Didn't realize I was going to have to do that, but it is what it is. We'll get it done. The instructions are pretty straightforward. Has everything you need there. And that's where I noticed that I was going to need to cut into the Soundbar. So Basically, this entire section is gonna have to get removed to access all the wiring, and they do provide stuffing material that you will stuff inside of the soundbar prior to installing the new speaker. So it's going to be a little bit more work than I thought. I thought it was just going to be a plug and play and kind of a bolt-in system, but that does not seem to be the case. But anyway, the speakers look like they're a big upgrade, so I think it's going to be worth it. So I'm going to put the work into it, and we'll get back to you shortly. Anyway, peace out. Okay guys, what I've decided to do is to actually remove the soundbar, just because it'll make it a lot easier for cutting. And if I do the cutting while it's installed, it's just going to get plastic shreds everywhere, and I don't want to do that. It's going to be more of a hassle. So what I'm going to have to do is going to remove these Torx 25 screws. There's going to be 2 here, and the reason you have to remove this is so it'll give you access to the bolt that's holding down the soundbar, and you'll have to do the rears, both rears, and both fronts. And there's the other bolt here, so that's why you need to move the other front. Once you do that, you're gonna have to remove this light, unplug it, because there's screws, I believe, there. And that should do it. You might have to pry this out. I think it snaps in, so you might have to pry it out with the plastic trim remover and remove it there. And then that'll give us access to the soundbar. Then we can drop the soundbar and then go and have these, go get these cut. So here we go. Let's get started, okay? Also 2 screws over here. Same thing. These happen to be holding my handles as well, so these have to be removed as well. And the front's gonna have some too. 1, 2, and then that should be it. Okay. You just remove the handle, and these should pry off just like that. See? Not very hard at all. This is what I mean. Gives you access to that bolt here. So now we need to do the other side just to get access to these bolts. These are 10 millimeters, just by looking at them. All right, so let me get started with the rest. Okay, the front ones are a little harder to get to because of the freedom panel here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove the freedom panels while I do this. It's a nice day out today, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, so there's a couple of Christmas tree clips that you have to remove up front too. So once you get those removed, then this panel should come out. I'm trying to be careful not to scratch anything. Okay, once that's done, then you can just kind of pull here. I'm going to push here, and that gets that panel off. Okay, one more thing. There's a couple of screws here, one on each side, that you'll have to remove as well. So we're getting there, surely. But not only was there one there and there, but also one in the center, so don't forget that one as well. Once you get that center one, then this just pops down, and then you'll have to unclip the dome lights. So you just pull this pin here, you pull it out, and then you press in and unclip it. It's pretty easy. So now just two 10mm bolts remaining, and this should drop down. Okay, there's a Christmas tree. And let's see what else is being hung up here. And that's all she wrote. All right, we got the sound bar out. All right. Looks like we got the sound bar out. This thing is super light. I can just tell that the speakers in this thing aren't very high quality. We'll take our 5mm Allen and remove the covers and start to do our cutting. Okay, so that's what you get. You get a small 4-inch speaker, it looks like, and a 3-inch tweeter, and this is going to be your your porthole for the deep sound. But we are going to replace it with something much bigger. So let's get started. We're gonna have to remove these, by the way. Okay, it looks like this one, the porthole takes a Torx 30. And these take Torx 20s. Now you'll have to unclip these. To get it out, just like that. For that one, you see it's a grommet. The easiest thing to do is just pull it, grab it from the back, and just squeeze, and then pull it through. And there you go. All your wiring's down underneath now. Guys, so here's what I'm doing. I'm taking an X-Acto knife and just kind of lining it out, following. I put the screws back in to hold the template in place, and then I'm taking an X-Acto knife and I'm just kind of going around the edges, leaving a line on what needs to be cut. And there you go. Now we can start cutting. I'm going to use a little Dremel with the little saw and just cut all the way around it. All right, guys, I'm really excited to see what the sound difference is going to be like. Just looking at the difference of the Alpine versus stock, huge. You take a look. Stock, mid-stock tweeter. Look at this thing compared to stock. 6.5 inch versus probably what maybe a 4 or 3.5 inch. Same with the tweeter. The tweeter's there, component system. 6.5 inch mid though. Look at that. 6.5 inch woofer. Big difference. I'm really excited to see what this is going to sound like. So let's get this thing installed and let's get rolling. One thing I do want to mention is I'm glad I took the soundbar out, because there's no way I would have been able to make the cuts that needed to be cut on the soundbar without actually removing it from the Jeep. It's a lot of work, actually. You want to make sure you take your time, but here we go. We're going to go ahead and start the installation process all over again. Okay, so they are plug and play. It doesn't look like we're going to need to use one of the connections since it is a component system. There's just one in. So you're going to take this signal, connect it there to the OEM connector, and then I might want to zip tie those just because I don't want them flopping around making noise. So I'm going to probably zip tie those. It does come with replacement bolts, so you want to make sure you use those and not the 5mm ones that it came with. So make sure you use these to put the new speaker in. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to zip tie those cables and then mount this back into the system. All right, guys, all done. Already, I can tell she's much heavier. Well, let's get this installed and see how it sounds like. Okay, guys, moment of truth. Got everything installed, back in place. Got the headliners back in. Overall, fairly easy install. This is what takes the longest, is to cut out the new holes for the new speakers, to make room for the new speakers. But all in all, fairly easy. You just got to make sure, take your time so you don't scratch anything. Make sure you get all the screws that need to be taken off. There is no manual for that, so you just got to take it easy and make sure you get them all. I can definitely tell the difference. A lot deeper sound. I might actually even have to adjust the equalizer or the EQ just to make it sound to my preference. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash the like button, and if you happen to like my videos, just make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, and remember, take life by the horns.